So I just finished my third day of calf training daily, and I am shocked at how sore my calves are. I'm actually not sure if I'm gonna be able to finish the experiment.
What happens when you train your calves every single day for 30 straight days? I know the answer because back in 2020, I did just that. And I'm gonna share with you guys my pretty shocking results. And if you've been struggling to grow those stubborn calves, this could be exactly what you need. But first, let's backtrack to before I did the experiment. I was in the running for the Chicken Leg King of YouTube. Not a title you wanna have. I would just get blasted in the comments from people who made fun of my calves and assumed that I skipped leg day because calves are obviously the most visible lower body muscle group. Now in theory, you could have huge quads and prioritize leg day, but if your calves are lagging, your legs are pretty much gonna suck. And if you see a lot of my older videos, you're gonna notice my legs just look way smaller, and that's because they were. My calves took even longer than my quads to grow, and instead of blaming genetics like I wanted to, I kept it real with myself and blamed lack of training volume. I would simply always forget to train my calves, and then one day I'm like, oh shit, it's been 2 years, maybe I should hit some calves today. So back in 2020, I did just that. Stuck at home, no gyms open, I decided to try a new experiment and train my calves every single day for 30 straight days. And after doing tons of research on the best bodyweight exercises that I could get my hands on, I realized that you could get in a killer calf workout with absolutely no weight from the convenience of your own home. So I set a goal to do at least 100 calf raises for 30 straight days. Now I decided if I could make a daily habit out of training my calves, that I could finally fix my small calves that measured in at 15 and 7/8 inch at the time. Now the biggest challenge of the experiment was that gyms were of course closed. So my routine was I did a bodyweight version of essentially donkey calf raises or standing calf raises on the steps in my house or outside on the sidewalk. Now, it's not easy to do 25 to 30 of these with perfect form, so it was the perfect calf exercise. So in May 2020, I started the Great Calf Experiment, and the results of the experiment were so shocking that bodybuilding.com even wrote a huge article about the results of the experiment. Now you're probably wondering, why haven't you heard about these results yet? So the experiment happened during a time of my life that I was taking some time off YouTube. So over 500 days later, I've decided to stop hiding my calf gain secrets from you guys. Now before we begin, remember my calves measured 15 and 7/8 inches before the experiment. Remember that number when we measured them at the end of the video. So the first 7 days of the calf experiment were by far the hardest. I was actually pretty sore on day 3.
So I just finished my third day of calf training daily, and I am shocked at how sore my calves are. I'm actually not sure if I'm gonna be able to finish the experiment.
Now what I did is I performed 3 sets until failure every single day. The first workout, I could do about 40 in a row with my toes pointed straight on the first set, and I failed at around 30 on the last 2 sets. Set 1 would be with my toes pointed straight forward, then I'd rest 60 seconds, and for set 2, I would point my toes slightly out, then I'd rest for 60 seconds. On set 3, I would go until failure with my toes pointed in to target the outer portion of the calf. Now this entire workout lasted about 7 painful minutes, which doesn't sound like a long time, but some days you just don't want to do it, trust me.
Day number 4, and my calves have been really sore because I'm actually stretching my calves in between high rep sets.
In the first workout, I did 100 total reps, but on day 7, I was up to 130 total calf raises on the 3 sets until failure. I saw a pretty big difference in the number of calf raises that I could do on set 1 in just 7 days. On day 7, I was up to 57 in a row compared to 40 in a row on set 1 on day number 1. So week number 2, the only difference was from weeks 1 to 2 was that I added in a 4th set with my toes pointed forward. This brought my daily calf raises to more than 150 every workout in week number 2. By the end of week 2, it felt like my calves were absolutely pumped just from walking around. Now, I was tempted to measure my calves to see how much they had grown at this point, but I didn't want to get frustrated if they hadn't and lose momentum in the experiment. So I decided to wait until the bitter end. Now, weeks 3 and 4. By week 3, my calves were never sore, regardless of how many calf raises that I performed. Since I was in quarantine, I was still doing only bodyweight calf raises. I wanted to make sure the experiment became slightly harder every single week. Now, since I couldn't add resistance, I added more total sets. So during weeks 3 and 4, I performed 5 total sets until failure, as close to failure as I could reach. This was extremely painful and honestly one of the hardest things that I've ever done. Now, it takes a lot of discipline to do 5 sets of calves to failure when you're tired and when you've been working all day. Now, some days were flat out torture, but I was determined to see the experiment through. I wanted to see what my results would be so I could give other hard gainers a way to finally grow their stubborn calves. So weeks 5 and 6, I finished the experiment on day 30. I decided I wanted more. I'd finally bought some weights and I set up a gym in my garage, so I added weighted calf raise holds and weighted calf raises to my regimen 4 times per week. Then the other 3 days per week, I simply did my bodyweight calf workout. Now, I took my first day off from training my calves on day number 37 and ended up training my calves 43 out of 45 days. After 45 days of prioritizing my calves, it was time for a much needed week off. What's crazy is that my calves didn't really feel sore or as if I had overtrained them, which leads me to my results. So the experiment worked. I waited until 60 days after to measure my calves. I wanted to take a week off and then go back to training them twice a week. Now, I don't consider the results final yet because in theory, according to nuclei overload, my calves should grow much faster now as I've increased the nuclei in the muscle cell. So comment below if you actually believe in nuclei overload or if you've ever tried it yourself. But anyways, after subjecting myself to all that pain for almost 2 months straight, you'd better believe I wanted to see actual proof via my tape measure that my calves were bigger. So on June 20th, I measured my calves, and much to my delight, they were finally over 16 inches. It's 16 and a half inches, up from 15 and 7/8 inches at the start of the experiment. Now to put that into perspective, you'll recall that my calves hadn't grown at all in almost 2 years, and that's from training them twice a week at the gym. Now another crazy fact is that the majority of my calf training throughout the experiment was body weight only. And this leads me to believe that if I actually added more resistance training throughout the experiment and more exercise variety, I might have even seen better results. So the great calf experiment is now complete, and although the process was painful, almost impossible at times, I can honestly say it was the only thing that I've ever tried that has grown my most stubborn muscle group really quickly. Now another observation is the combination of bodyweight calf raises and running on the wet sand on the beach in California. Incredible for building your calves. Now I actually posted this picture on my Instagram the night after a beach run and right after the experiment on June 6th. And I said, quote unquote, the last 45 days I've been focusing on bringing up my weakest muscle group, my calves. I've made some pretty good progress so far. Video coming ASAP. Well, apparently ASAP meant 500 plus days later, but hopefully this video will help fix some chicken legs out there. So do me a favor and share it with your leg day skipping friends and help the channel grow to 1 million superhumans. Now, last but not least, this experiment worked because I was also eating enough protein and total calories. So if you missed my video on why I eat donuts post-workout and the perfect post-workout meal for muscle growth, you need to watch it next. And if you're struggling to get in enough protein, you've got to try Superhuman Protein from my company, Alphaline. It's a 100% whey protein isolate, which means it digests amazing, and it has added estrogen, which is my favorite ingredient for absorbing more of your protein from every protein shake and having no digestion issues. And the taste is amazing. I was doing 2 Superhuman Protein shakes per day during the Great Calf Experiment, and my favorite flavors, PB and Gains and Cocoa Puffs, give me an extra 60 grams of protein every single day, which definitely helped my results. So simply go to elfline.com and use Troy20 for huge savings on Superhuman Protein or any of our other clinically dosed supplements. And that's the best way to directly support your body transformation and this channel because I am, of course, the co-founder. But before I go, do me a favor, comment below what upcoming video that you would rather see. Option number 1 is what I eat to build muscle year round, or option number 2, an entire video on if I'm natural or not, since so many of you seem to ask me this question recently. And if you have any other questions or comments, simply drop them below. I personally read every comment and randomly select people to win epic prizes. I'm here to help you guys reach your fitness goals, so simply let me know down below anything that you want answered. And if you missed my recent videos on why your arms suck or why your legs suck, any of my workouts with Charles Glass, you can find those videos in the description below. Stay superhuman, guys, and I will see you in the next video.
You ain't got no gains. You ain't lift no weights.